All right, we are live. So welcome, Janice, to 5 questions. Janice is another fellow Canadian just outside of Toronto, and we're going to have some fun. All set?
Sounds good.
You got
Absolutely.
good. You got your 5 questions lined up?
I do. Yes.
Awesome. So what's your most pressing question? What do you want to start with?
The first one with the thought of allowing the universe to manifest what it is that you'd like, right? So when you send it out to the universe, there's a part of kind of trusting and how it is going to bring it to you. I have a little bit of, I guess, a wobble on it, worried about that if it's going to come to me in a way that might harm somebody, or in a way that, like, say for example, I manifest the exact amount of money that I want, but it came as an inheritance because I lost someone I love,
Right,
or like,
right,
right, my dream job, but my best friend got fired, and that's how I got my dream job. Like,
right.
how do
So
you, how do
it's
you handle
really what you're asking is, do you need to worry about the fear of consequences of a manifestation, maybe either for yourself or for somebody else?
that? Mostly for somebody else. I think for me, if it was me, it's okay, but I do worry about it coming. I get what I want because somebody else has to hurt for it.
Yeah, yeah. So there's actually quite an easy answer to this.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure you're going to love the answer. So, as Abraham Hicks says, we live in an attraction-based reality. There is no assertion. So, literally, what that means is you cannot experience something that is not a vibrational match to you.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter what you manifest. If somebody is not a vibrational match to a negative consequence to your manifestation, they can't experience it. So let's say you've got a friend, I don't know, let's call her Michelle, and
Mhm.
Michelle's got her own vibration going on. And let's say Michelle is a vibrational match to, I don't know, breaking her pinky toe.
Mhm.
Okay. If she's a vibrational match to that circumstance, she has to experience it, because law of attraction is a law like gravity. If you're a vibrational match to something, you must experience it. That's how it works. You tune into that channel, it'll happen. So if she's a
Okay.
vibrational match
Oops.
to having her pinky toe broken, then she's going to experience it. If she's not a
Mhm.
vibrational match to having her pinky toe broken, then she's not going to experience it. So the actions you take, the vibration you put out, what you do or don't manifest is inconsequential to her, because everything she's going to experience is a match to her vibration and her vibration alone.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
I guess it does. Like, in the sense you're saying that regardless of what's kind of happening around me, that person has already attracted it to themselves.
Yeah. So let's say you do manifest money through the passing of a relative.
Mhm.
Okay. So that relative was simply allowing themselves to be a cooperative component to your experience. So here in physical reality, there's 7 billion people on the planet, right? And all 7 billion people, each person has their own individual vibration. And their own individual vibration is what creates their own experience. And the way I see it is source is kind of like, you know, being source, managing everything that's going on with those vibrations. So they're like, oh, Nick's a vibrational
Mhm.
match to breaking his pinky toe, and Janice is a vibrational match to helping somebody who has a broken pinky toe. Then we're going to line them up so that they're cooperative components
Mm.
to each other's experiences.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Yes. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
so it's more of like both of us in a sense aligning, and because and it matching up,
Yes.
right? It's something
It's
like that. Yeah.
it's you matching up with an experience, somebody else matching up with an experience, and if some ways those experiences are meant to blend together for that physical reality manifestation, then
Mm.
source blends them together. So in other words, all of that to say that you cannot assert anything onto somebody else.
Okay. Okay, no, I understand that now. I
Makes
get that.
sense?
I feel like, yeah, I feel a lot better actually about that.
Good.
But like, because I'd always felt like it was a little iffy about I'm okay to trust the universe and I'm good for it coming in,
Yeah.
right? Bring it to me however you want. But then there was a part of me like saying, okay, well, just don't bring it in this way, and then don't bring it in that, And I knew that that's also blocking, right?
Yeah.
Because that means I'm not trusting the
And remember
universe.
too, your inner being is unconditionally loving, not only for you, but for everybody. And
Hmm.
everybody's inner beings are unconditionally loving towards everybody. So our inner beings are always um, guiding us, leading us down that path of least resistance. That's
Hmm.
going to be the greatest, most best outcome for all of us. And that's what we experience to the level that we let that greatness in.
Oh, very nice. Good, good.
Awesome. Cool.
Uh,
That was
um,
a good first question. What do you got next on your list?
Next one, I guess regarding judgment of others. So let's say if something that you do want to manifest or bring into your life or like your career, whatever, somewhat depends, maybe not all of it, but to a certain degree depends on the judgment of others. How do you detach yourself from that judgment?
Yeah, so judgment of others is a big thing for a lot of people. Here's the thing about being judged by others, and this is what I've shared with a lot of clients in the past. I think I've talked about this in some of the collective calls. So, somebody that judges, they're just a judger. So, somebody that's typically a judger is constantly judging everybody about everything. So, it doesn't matter who you are or what you do, what you achieve, what you don't achieve, they're going to judge regardless,
Hmm.
right? So if it's, oh, I'm afraid of having $1 million because people might judge me, right? So those people that would judge you for having $1 million, they would probably also judge you for not having $1 million. So in their mind, they're just judging everybody regardless of where those people are at or what they're doing. Does that make sense?
It does, but what if, like, if what you need, say, for example, like, say this video, say that what we're doing right now, in order for it to be successful, you need 50,000 people to like it,
Okay.
right? In order to move to the next level or
Sure.
whichever.
So being
So
attached to outcome.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you not be attached to that kind of outcome when you need these people, like, say, to like it in order for it to move forward?
So for me, I don't do anything, or I try not to do anything. I know it's a practice, but everything I do it from the energy of doing it for the pleasure activity, not for the outcome. So when we are attached to that outcome, often we're creating resistance, right? Because it's a need. Oh, I need to hit 50,000 views, right? For me, I do everything from the energy of I just do it because it feels fun and exciting, and I can take pleasure in that activity. And from that energy, then you're doing it from the place where you're connected to your inner being and you're in alignment. So the example I used in the collective a few times was writing a book. So last year I gave a talk to a mastermind of people who are
Mm-hmm.
writing books, and they all had writer's block. And the reason they all had writer's block is they had all this pressure on their shoulders of it's got to be done by this certain deadline. It's got to be this many pages. It's going to change the world. It's going to sell 10,000 copies. So they weren't writing for the joy of the process. They were writing with this attachment of what the outcome needed to look like. And that's why they all had writer's block. For me, when I wrote, this book, Power of Joy, that's my last one, Power Manifesting, I literally wrote that from the energy of like, I was just writing it for me, right? I was just writing it because I love taking what I have going on in here and just putting it on paper and telling the stories of manifestation and how it all works. So for me, I was writing for the pleasure of the experience of the writing. And that's why it flowed so easily and so quickly. Like literally the first manuscript took about 3 weeks worth of work, right? So anything you do, you want to do it from that energy of doing it for the sheer enjoyment of the process rather than what that end outcome needs to look like. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because doing it from that energy of pleasure is, you're doing it from so much more of a powerful place connected to your inner being. And it doesn't matter if it's writing a book, cooking, applying for a job, whatever it is, if you're
Mhm.
doing it from that energy, the benefits just, it becomes an effortless process.
Mhm. So the job itself becomes, I guess, like comes well, effortless because you love what you're doing, and I guess the following that you may get from it is because of your feeling of how you were at that time. Would that kind of make sense?
So I guess the following is a reflection of my vibration, right? So for me, my intent isn't 50,000 followers. My intent is to have fun doing it. And if there's other people who can benefit from it, great. And if their inner beings see them as a good match to watch my videos and they can line them up with those people, that's great too.
Okay. Okay. And I guess if like, and maybe if like you're saying, if your vibration is just high and you're aligned and you're loving what you're doing, it will probably, like I would say, it would just transcend
Yeah, I mean,
into what it is you're doing as well.
if you're literally experiencing life in that place of pleasure, does manifestation even matter anymore?
No, when that's right.
Right. And it's from that place of pleasure where you're actually letting in the manifestations, because in that place of pleasure, you're in that non resistant state.
Ah, I think there we go. I think that was the key one.
And
That.
that's why in the collective, we're so focused on the new paradigm rather than manifestation, because the old the old point of view, the old way to look at, law of attraction, is from the angle of chasing after this, that, or the other thing. And the better approach, and that's what I talk about in Power Manifesting and in the collective, the better approach is not to study law of attraction from the context of manifestation, but studying law of attraction in the context of stepping into the new paradigm, where pleasure is the focus, where the mechanism of synchronicity is the focus, where allowing reality to be exactly what it is without pushing against is the focus, learning unconditional love as being the focus. And from that place, all of those manifestations then begin to trickle in.
Sounds good.
Make
Very
sense?
good. Got it. Yes, very
Awesome.
much. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Throw another question at me. What else do you have on your list there?
Okay. And this is more, I guess, to keep it in alignment. Um, when you have somebody who always wants to be right, or always wants the last word, and I mean, I come across, and in all honesty, I know I could be like that as well, and I try to catch myself. But when that person is speaking to you, and for me, I do my best to kind of end the conversation and walk away and try to maintain my alignment. But at the same time, I feel like if I do this too often, then I might be giving them the impression that they can come to me and dominate me all the time because I'm always going to give in. I'm always going to back down.
Yeah.
I'm always, you know.
Yeah. So there's two things to look at there. So, one is boundaries, right?
Mhm.
And the other is kind of this whole notion of like getting the last word, right?
Mhm.
So when somebody feels like they know best or they want to have the last word, or whatever state of being they choose to experience, even a negative emotion, right? So somebody has the right to be an angry person if they want to be an angry person. Somebody has the right to choose to be a depressed person if they want to practice sadness all day, right? I know that there's better ways to experience reality if they want to choose differently. Some
Mhm.
people feel like they always need to have the last word. So my perspective is, allow other people to be who they want to be, choose the emotional states they want to choose, let them be them, but at the same time, allow myself to be me, right? So if I'm fully allowing them of being them and fully allowing me of being me, that also means that I don't have to allow them to dictate or control me in any way, right? So when you talk about being unconditionally loving, you can be unconditionally loving to everybody, but unconditionally loving, the most important person to love unconditionally is yourself. And being unconditionally loving doesn't mean allowing yourself to be a victim to other people's behavior and other people's perspectives, and the way they treat you. So it doesn't mean don't have boundaries. It still means to stand up for yourself, but it also means that you can walk away from those people who aren't positive for you or good for your vibration. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It does. I guess I'm more of a like I feel I can see, because I can be that person too, right? And then suddenly I'm enthralled in the discussion of there's their opinion and there's my opinion and their opinion and my opinion. And so sometimes I try to walk away because I feel like, okay, this isn't vibrationally good for me, right?
Yeah.
um so sometimes it can kind of backfire, I guess, on myself, because I know that habit of mine, I'm not doing it because I want to have the last word, but I
Yeah.
feel like if they get the last word, then they're always going to get the last word, and then I'm going to be always under their thumb, like that.
Yeah. So for you, it sounds like it's almost like a control thing.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah. And do you ever have like lower back issues at all?
I do, yes.
Yeah. So that's the vibration of stuckness, lack of control. And from that vibration, you're actually going to attract a lot of that type of conflict. So my suggestion for you would be to use that belief tree process on that stuckness, lack of control feeling. And if you clear that emotion out, which is probably a dominant negative emotion for you, if you can clear that out, then you'll no longer attract circumstances like that.
Okay.
So that's a vibrational thing. And I love how that ties into your first question
Mhm.
around other people being cooperative components to what you have going on in your vibration.
Yes, that's it, exactly. Yeah, very good.
Awesome. Yeah. So what I would do is I would use the belief tree process on that, in the collective recordings, the January 28th and the April 5th calls.
Okay. All right, sounds good. I will do.
Awesome. You got another question to throw at me? I think we got time for probably
Um,
one more.
okay. This one, the question, it has a bit of a backstory. Um, I was doing some shopping for this lady who couldn't go out, right? And her neighbor asked to get a case of laundry detergent.
Okay.
Right? So I went and did the shopping, and when I came back, noticed that the lady didn't charge me for the laundry detergent when I bought it. So essentially, it was free, and I thought in my mind, oh, that's nice. The neighbor is getting a free case laundry detergent, but the person that I was initially buying all the food for saw that it was not charged for free. At first, she said, "Why don't you just take the money because you were doing this a favor? Don't tell her it was for free." And I didn't like that feeling at all, right? I said, "No, I'm not going to do that."
Yeah.
And then in the end, what she did was the case had 4 bags of laundry detergent. She kept 3 and gave 1 to the neighbor who asked for it in the first place,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So my question is, like, stepping back and looking at this, did the lady just hijack that person's manifestation? Is that possible, or
No.
was she meant to?
Yeah, so what that is, and again, I love how this ties back to your first question again. So the lady who wanted the detergent in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
and then the lady that kind of ripped her off. So the first lady, she was a vibrational match to not receiving, like, she's a vibrational match to that entire experience, right?
Okay.
So, and there's a lot of dynamics. So again, this goes back to like, there is no assertion. So the lady who kept that detergent for herself, you know, she was not asserting anything onto her that the other lady wasn't already a vibrational match to. So that first lady, she probably has a lot of things in her vibration around maybe powerlessness and victim and things around that nature, which was what allowed that to play out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. It does make sense, yeah. But it was funny just kind of watching the situation of, like, the lady that took the detergent, right? Thinking that it wasn't something, it wasn't even the one that she usually uses, right? She just saw something free and
Yeah.
decided, oh, it's free. Well, I'm going to take this and get, and then the person who was actually asking for it did get something free, but it wasn't the full extent
Right.
of what could have been hers.
Yeah, and the lady that took it, she's probably struggles financially because she's practicing that mindset of, oh, I need to keep this for me.
Okay.
So again, when you analyze circumstances, you can see when you understand law of attraction, when you understand how everything is vibrational, you can see what people have going on in their vibration based on, what actions they're taking and what they're experiencing in the circumstances that present themselves.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch. Like even though I was there, like when I stepped back and saw and like looked at it in a manifestation point of view to
Yeah,
see like and that's what I was questioning is like did she like how did she interfere? Is that possible? Is it? Or, but then yeah, if um the lady who wanted the detergent in the first place is already practicing lack, right?
yeah,
She not even realizing it, she didn't get as much as she could have had she been practicing I guess more as
totally, totally. And it's all just these cooperative components coming in
component.
that allow these circumstances to play out. A lot of channelers use the analogy of like we're all just actors and playing roles, right?
Hmm. Very much. No, very
Awesome.
okay. At least that makes a lot more sense to me now. At least I can, right? Because I was also feeling kind of guilty about that as well. Like,
Yeah,
watching that person kind of take what she didn't really need, but it was just free. So she's like, oh, well, I'm going to take advantage of it, right? And so, but at least it puts it in a better, lot better perspective. I can understand it now.
totally, totally. Awesome. Thank you so much for playing.
Thank you very much for having me on. This was great. Very wonderful.
Awesome.
Oh,
Awesome. And we'll see you on the next collective calls.
absolutely. Definitely.
Awesome. All right. Enjoy your day.
You too. Bye
Thanks,
bye.
Janice.